What's up, everybody? I almost forgot the mic wasn't in front of me. Hey, guys, welcome to episode of the Weighing In podcast. I thought I'd just drop in, man. I got obviously some news dropped with Nate Diaz today. Actually, it was yesterday, but just kind of I've got a relationship with Nate. Not like as if we're buddy or anything like that, but we fought before, and I fought his teammate 3 times. Probably one of the best trilogies in the sport history. With Gilbert Melendez. Just wanted to get out here and say, like, hey, how do you guys feel about this? What are your guys' thoughts on him, potentially returning to the UFC? I've got a little inside scoop on this whole thing. And it's nothing major. Just wanted to come out here and just get your feeling. I said, I'm probably going to be eating my words here shortly, but I said probably about two weeks ago, I said the UFC is not signing 40-year-olds. But let's be honest, man, Nate is just a different animal. He is a different person when it comes to signing him, the UFC signing him. They are right now in this really weird position, right? Like they're in this needing stars. They just cut Jailton Almeida, which we'll touch on a little bit throughout this show. But they're in this weird position of like they need action fighters. They need fighters that, just kind of bring it. Look, win, lose, or draw. I think everyone that's walked away from a Nate Diaz fight were like, man, I was glad I watched that. Now, there's obviously a lot of frustrating moments during his fights. I think when you watch, the Leon Edwards fight. Didn't really do much, the fight. Couldn't really catch him, couldn't get after him. Rocks him in the 5th round. Doesn't go after him, just points at him and just laughs at him. Like, I could put you away if I wanted. Just decided I don't want to chase after you and went about his business. So I guess the question is, should the UFC bring him back? There's fights to be made. And let's be honest, there's fights to be made for him. And let's talk about some fights. The Conor McGregor trilogy fight. That's high on my list, man. 40 years old. Let's not pretend like Conor is the Conor of the Eddie Alvarez era. That's the Jose Aldo. That's not him anymore. So I got DJ Serenity now. Look, should they bring him back? You say no. But there are fights to be made that will bring in huge numbers. And if you're the UFC and looking to bring in you need to bring in new people watching you on this new Paramount deal. On this new TV rights deal, you need to bring in new fans. 78 or 79 million people have Paramount. I think it's probably jumped significantly since then, about 30, 40% or something like that. I heard 50%, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what that is. But I honestly believe that they should. They should bring Nate Diaz back. They have a line of fights that potentially he could fight. And then, obviously at 40 years old, he's not fighting the world beaters. I mean, there's fights for him. He beat Tony Ferguson on his last fight on the way out. He came up short against Leon Edwards, which I just talked about. He loses to Masvidal for the BMF title. He beats Anthony Pettis before that. Loses to Conor McGregor, but beat Conor McGregor before that. He wasn't fighting a lot. Look, 2016, he fought Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor twice in 1 year. Then he waits, doesn't fight for like 3 years, some shit. And then he fights Anthony Pettis in 2019. Then he fights Masvidal in 2019. He gets 2 fights in after having a long layoff. Then he fights Leon Edwards in 2021, basically a year and a half away. Then in 2022, because that was his last fight on his contract, he wanted out. He wanted to go fight Jake Paul. He wanted to go fight some other guys. Fought Masvidal in boxing. And I honestly believe the answer to my question, and maybe you guys in the comments don't like this, which I think is ridiculous. Put your promoter hats on, and I say that a lot. I know I do. But as a fan, we've got to stop trying to just think like, okay, well, I want this. And I just did a full hour and something minutes with a member yesterday. YouTube, one of our Weighing In YouTube members, had him on. We had a great talk. John Scruggs out of Indiana, Southern Indiana. Him and I talked for about an hour, and he kind of understands that right now we've got to build this thing up. We've got to build a bigger platform. We've lost a lot of people watching this sport. And There's no Conor McGregor walking through the door or Khabib Nurmagomedov walking through the door. There's no more, like Cain Velasquez brought in quite a significant group of people. His brown pride tattoo, spoke Spanish fluently. Like there was a lot. They were leaning on that Tito Ortiz back in the day, who didn't speak Spanish at all, trying to hit that Hispanic market, and they never did. Cain Velasquez was the very first one to ever really bring in a true, unless I'm forgetting somebody, but to bring in a true Hispanic market. And then obviously it flowed in from there. I mean, Alexa Grasso, Diego Lopez, Yair Rodriguez. I mean, you've got a whole slew of world class, Brandon Moreno. I mean, you got a whole slew of Hispanic fighters now. But there's fights to be had for Nate Diaz that will bring the original hardcore fans back in, but also it'll bring fans that'll come in and be like, yeah, man, this is the fight that we kind of want to see. Like I want to see the Conor McGregor trilogy. Let me just ask you this. We know he's 40 years old. And after what you just saw with Paddy Pimblett against Justin Gaethje, is that not a fight you would want to see, Paddy and Nate Diaz? Is that not a fight you want to see? I want to see that fight. Can you imagine the trash talk? That would be, it would be amazing. I think the lead up to the fight, the back and forth, Nate would be hungry for that fight. He wants to fight the best guys. Like his brother just, being out for a long period of time, comes back and says, I think I could be a champion. They have this mentality of they talk that way to themselves. They tell themselves, I can run a triathlon, and they go out and run it. These guys have a different mindset, and I appreciate their mindset. I think if the UFC meets with him, from what I understand, there's a chance that they might be meeting here in the next, little bit. I think there was some hope there. You just saw Nate and Nick at the UFC. I think the last, not the last one, but the one before that, I believe. So I think there will be some sort of meeting and conversation if they haven't already had it. And we're not, look at this. Papagino 1, 2, 3. I don't need him to fight the top 25 guys. I know I just threw out Paddy, but Conor McGregor's not a top 25 guy. He's name value, and I want to see that trilogy. So I'm going to take that fight. And then on top of that, look, Paddy just fought for the interim title, but look, I would not mind having Paddy Pimblett fight Nate Diaz. The reason why I wouldn't mind is that he's young. He's got a great market behind him. He can sell. And I didn't walk away from the Justin Gaethje fight going this guy sucks. I walked away from that fight going, he's better than I thought. He's tougher than I thought. I thought he would break after Papagino 1, 2, 3. What are you talking about? He doesn't sell. Look at this guy. What are you, bro? We got to get you off the, what are you talking about? Nate doesn't sell? Bro, come on. I think the numbers would lie. UFC paid him a lot of money. UFC doesn't pay a lot of money to those guys unless the numbers sell. So it's ridiculous to say that. Ridiculous. Now, would his market be the same right now? I couldn't tell you. But I could honestly tell you that that the UFC is the best when it comes. Look at the BJ Penn. If they're the best at when they have to bring somebody, or when they do bring somebody back, that person now all of a sudden is the greatest fighter in the world. That person all of a sudden now is he's just legendary in the game, in the sport. And bro, come on. That it's think about when BJ Penn left and they brought him back. That whole lead up and build up to BJ Penn coming back was huge. Randy Couture, when he left and was trying to leave, and they brought it, and when he came back, that was big as well. What they could do with the Nate Diaz return would be just insane. And by the way, I'm going to throw another one out there just because I just saw right before I hopped on here. Dustin Poirier is back at American Top Team training. Could we, and I know just a short-lived retirement if he does come back. But these two have had at it also. There's fights to be had, you guys. And at this market, in this day, and the Dan Hooker fight, someone just said Dan Hook. That's another great fight. Let's have him fight guys that we know will bring in some. And look, he's only got 2, maybe 3 in him. If he's gonna, and he's got to do it quick in the year. Him and Dan Hooker, him and Dustin Poirier, him and Conor McGregor. There's 3 fights. We just wipe our hands of that. And look, and they'll all fight at 170. There's no reason that Nate's not making 155. Dustin will go to 170. Dan Hooker would probably love to go to 170. Conor McGregor's not making 55. You have 3 fights now at 170. I'll take it. I'll take it. Thompson versus Diaz 2. Nope, scratch that off your list, buddy. It's not even in the conversation, bro. It's not even in the conversation. Look, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, I said this years ago. I said about 2 years ago. I wouldn't mind running it back with him. In an MMA fight, it would be a little bit more. Bleh. I don't want to have to train wrestling and the grappling and all the other stuff that comes along with it. In a boxing match, I would have liked to have done it. You know? Combat Sports 7592. I don't know if he ever did. Look, take a look at him. He says Dustin juiced. I don't think he did. I think Dustin just set up his gym and his facility at his place. I don't think he ever did. You know, I've seen talked to other fighters. I just talked to Matt Serra the other day about it. That interview will drop on Sunday morning. If you guys don't know who Matt Serra is, he's a fucking legend in the sport. Got one of the, if not the biggest upset ever in history was Matt Serra versus GSP, where he won the welterweight title, coming off the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, and then him and I just chatted in the beginning about, TRT and all the other stuff, like about what, how did you feel? He's 51 years old, man. It looks like he's fucking, beside the bald head, Matt Serra looks like he's fucking 36, 35, somewhere in there. Looks absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I think, I don't know if he ever did, man. I'm not sure. But I think the conversation needs to go to Nate. It says, look, let me just read what Nate has to say. Let's not act like I didn't start a whole division bringing value to these guys claiming they're it. I gave opportunity and put notice on the dopest fights. I got unfinished business, and I plan on going on and taking what's mine as soon as possible. First to ever start a division and the dopest one at that. You're welcome, motherfuckers. I'll see you soon. I'm coming. Well, that sounds like he's obviously got a lot of interest, and I know there's been a back and forth with the UFC. I don't know if from what I understand, they either already met or they do have a meeting or something along those lines, just to kind of see what the interest really is. Like, I think he's just planting the seed. He's letting the UFC know. Good on him, man. This is a look. You're a fool. I'm gonna say it. You're a fool if you don't want to see him back in the UFC. I just gave you 3 of the best fights you could possibly see. Whether they live up to the hype or not, I don't know, man. None of us can tell. We'll see what happens when you get out there. But Conor McGregor, the trilogy, Dustin Poirier, that fight, a return of both guys, Nate leaving from the UFC, making his return to the UFC, Dustin announcing his retirement, but drug himself back out for this fight. I'll take it. And you got Dan Hooker. Nate Diaz ain't shooting no fucking takedown. And they're going to stand and trade. There's 3 fights right there that I'll take. Can you add a couple more? Can we add one more? Can we get 4 in the next 2 years? That'll put him at 41, I think is what it'll put him at. I'll take 4 fights and him have him be 41, pushing 42. I'll take those fights. Let's just say welterweight. I don't want to see him fight at 85. I don't want to see that. I want to see the welterweight fight. He's going to have to make welterweight. Look, to be honest, those 3 are good. I don't need any other fights. And he's like everyone talking about, oh, Nate's 41 in a couple months. Look, I want to take the 2 fights, 2 or 3 fights. I don't need the Dan Hooker fight. Give me the Dustin, who's older, 38, I think, 37, somewhere in there. Give me the Dustin fight and give me the Conor fight. Give me the Conor fight first. Let's wrap that trilogy up. Let's get it on its way. That's a huge, huge fight. That puts, I think, look, if you put that on CBS, that puts, the UFC's been trying to break the 10 million mark. That 10 million, 11, 12 million mark. You put Conor versus Nate. I'll take it. I think that breaks 10 million to up to 12, maybe even 13 million views, viewership wise. Just on the Paramount app. If you put it on CBS, I think it goes beyond that. And I'm just talking about on the Paramount app. I'm not talking about the other countries. Like wherever it's available in whatever countries is available in now, I think it breaks the 10, 12, 15 million mark. I think it does huge numbers. You know, I don't know. I see no reason. Those people coming out and going, hey, we should, you know, like it shouldn't. Yeah, those people coming out saying that he shouldn't come back. What are you talking about? Big name value. Brings the Diaz army with him. His brother cage side. Oh, lazy bed, bro. I'm gonna slap you. Let's just no. BJ is quite a little bit. I think quite a bit older. So no, I don't think that either. And BJ's going through his own personal stuff right now as well. This guy right here, Papagino, Diaz army is 100 people. No, man. You guys are wild. The amount of people when it was Masvidal and Diaz, when they fought on the Fen Mio card down in LA, I worked that show calling the fight to the desk. They sold that arena out. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you, the tickets were very, very fairly priced. They were like $35 up to like $200 or $300, I think is what they were. Like front row tickets, I think were like $400. Wait. So Donnie does dishes. Get in the kitchen, bitch. Okay, go ahead. Old and slow. Bro, Conor McGregor is old and slow as well. Nate was never that fast. He was just good. Let's not start criticizing the guy, man, who's done so much for the sport. Man, I mean, you guys all must be the young fans. Sidebar, Thompson. That is a very nice hoodie. Oh, I know. It is nice, man. You guys can pick this up at Yayu. If you guys want to check them out on Instagram, it's called Yayu. It's a Hawaiian-based company. I love their stuff, man. I love it. It's great. They got great product, dude. They do for kids as well. They've got sunglasses. They've got a ton of stuff, man. It's great. I love it. Very comfortable. It's awesome. Love it. So you guys can check it out there. Yayu on Instagram. Yeah. That's the fight that I want to have. Okay, let's change. Let's go ahead and jump in. Look, those are the fights. You have the Conor trilogy fight, 100% a moneymaker for the UFC. Obviously, they would love to do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and talk about the Dustin Poirier fight. If Dustin decides to come back, there's one fighter I could see him coming back for. It would be Justin Gaethje. But why fight that guy when you could fight Nate Diaz? And I think you do better numbers. And nothing against Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is the interim champion right now. I don't think that Dustin, he would love to come back and fight for the undisputed title. But the fight for him that he would really like, because they've had this beef back and forth on social media, is Nate Diaz. He would come back for that. And it's a fight that it's very winnable. Very winnable. But it makes for a very damn good fight and big numbers. They can main event that, no problem. I'd put that as a main event on a CBS card. You call me foolish. Maybe you guys are like, oh no, it's too old. It's this and that. No. You will get a ton of new fans watching that. Bring back Paige Van Zandt. I mean, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people who wouldn't mind that. So I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't mind that. The fight is, yes, is any fight. Yeah, they're all, I mean, we all get beat up. So no, we're not winning in life after we get our asses kicked. Punched or not, like whether we take very little, no damage, still damage. It's called damage for a reason. We get punched in the fucking face. Yeah, it'll do numbers. No, I don't want to see Josh versus Nate versus Josh Emmett. I don't want to see that. I want to see Nate versus legendary guys in the sport. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and guys that like even the Dan Hooker fight, it's just fun because they're both tall, they're both long, they're both lanky. They're both tall, long, and lanky, guys. That's the fight. That's a great fight. But I think, like someone said, Nate turns 41 in a couple months. Let's just go ahead and give him the biggest 2 fights he could possibly make and make it fun. Make it Conor McGregor, make it Dustin Poirier. There's your fights. Let's get that last ounce of excitement out of him, that last ounce of energy and entertainment out of him as we can. We win. I mean, most of you guys were like, most of us were just bitching and moaning about a guy who's a heavyweight right now who just got released because he didn't do shit. He was in there acting like he didn't want to be in there. Whereas Nate Diaz will go in there and he will fight. You know, I mean, look, lazy bed, man. I'm gonna jump through this thing and smack you, but you're usually on my side, okay? But today you're kind of rubbing me a little wrong. Let's go ahead and take bringing old names for the sake of having them on the roster. Reeks of Bellator. Let me just tell you this: he will do numbers. And when they brought over fighters from the UFC that left the UFC or were cut from the UFC and they went to Bellator. Look, guys that went to Bellator, not all of them were old. There were some of them. Corey Anderson was ranked number 3 or 4 in the world at the time. Gegard Mousasi was ranked number 5 in the world at the time when he left. They both left. There's good fighters there. I get it. I understand. Lazy Bed's a UFC homer. I get it. I'm all for it. I love watching all the guys fight. But Almeida is a guy that acted like he didn't want to be in there. Nate enjoys all the buildup. Nate enjoys this this fight activity. He's out there having fun, man. And fans love that about him. And I think we should bring him back. I think we should have him fight. Obviously, those are the 2 fights that I think and I recommend. Those are the 2 fights. If I was matchmaker, if I was the promoter, and all of you guys got to, like I said, put your promoter hats on, is how would you want to, if you have a $1.1 billion TV rights deal, how do I get new people to watch? You bring the fighter that almost always fought on pay-per-view that most people didn't watch unless they had to pay for it, and they probably didn't pay for it because they're not hardcore fans. But now I get a chance to watch him on CBS, or now I get a chance to just watch him on Paramount. Bring that guy back and have him fight somebody like a Conor McGregor. Have him fight somebody like a Dustin Poirier, who are huge names as well. They would crush those numbers. They would any numbers we've done so far, they would crush them. Nate Diaz and Conor, Nate Diaz and Dustin, Nate Diaz. I would say even Nate Diaz and Dan Hooker would do good numbers. It wouldn't do anywhere near the numbers though as the Conor and the Dustin fight. But I'm there. I'm in it. I don't think Dustin wants to make 55 anymore. He's probably like, nah, I'll fight at 70. So I'll take it. Now, the Jailton Almeida situation. This is the question I have for all you guys. Okay, drop me some stuff here. Josh, you like the Ali Quinta interviews. Great stuff, man. Ali Quinta's a great guy. Wait till you guys get it. Wait till you guys watch the Matt Serra interview that drops on Sunday morning. There's no fights, and normally Angelo and I do a live. We're not going to probably do a live this Sunday just because there's no fights to talk about. We normally do the recap on it. And I leave to Mexico for CPI stem cells, and I'll be out there for the whole week. I'll actually be doing some lives just like this while I'm getting my treatments done. And so you guys can just jump in whenever you guys want. We could talk about what my treatments are. We could talk about fights. We could talk about whatever it is. Okay. So I'll just be jumping on probably periodically throughout the day. You guys can just jump on with me and just, we'll ask questions. And I've got also the fan question one going, or not fan question, but the fan interview that we do for our members. So join our members, our membership group, if you guys want to be a member of the YouTube channel. And I try to set aside once or twice a month where I jump on a stream with you guys and we just talk. We talk about all the questions that you have, anything you want to ask me, and I answer them for you, and then we post that onto our channel. Trying to do something different for the fans, man. If you're a member of the Weighing In YouTube channel, we'll reach out to you. If you're a member, we'll reach out to you and try to get you lined up. I think we're trying to get Alejandro Gutierrez right now, trying to get him lined up before I leave on Sunday, so we can do 2 of them for next week while I'm gone, on top of doing the live stuff while I'm out next week. So make sure you guys hit that bell for notifications so you guys can join the lives like I did today. It's unexpected. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk more. Let's go ahead and talk, the GSP, the Sarah versus GSP trilogy. Sarah's 51. Jailton Almeida. You got Fakhretdinov that he got let go as well recently. And I think both of them were, obviously Jailton Almeida was also in the rankings, but I think Fakhretdinov was in the rankings also. I think he was like number 12 or maybe even lower than that. Number 11 at the time. That to me is, we're getting into a really weird, I guess, era of our sport where we're pushing the entertainment business to the point of letting go the best fighters. Now, I'm not really of that. I want to see the best fighters fight the best fighters, and I also believe that the ship will right itself. And what I mean by that is, when a fighter is so good at getting takedowns and he's making it boring, other fighters will have to raise their level to beat him. And that's how this sport was built upon. That's what this sport was built upon. It was like, hey, Royce Gracie was so good at jiu-jitsu, but by UFC 3 or UFC 4, he was struggling because everyone had kind of started learning jiu-jitsu and started learning what he was doing, and it became more difficult for him to get takedowns, one, and then to even get to the submissions. Taking a lot of damage in getting there. This ship will right itself. But to keep, to not sign fighters from a different area of the world, or to not to sign wrestlers, or not to build up wrestlers, let these wrestlers adapt. If they're not entertaining, then don't sign them. But you knew how good they were when you signed them, obviously, to the UFC. You knew how good they were. These fighters need to make those adjustments. You can't cut guys on wins. It's a bad look. And I'm not, Jailton, looked like trash. He's coming off 2 losses now. And he wanted to go back down to 205. UFC's like, look, I'm not going to let you bounce around. You figure out where you want to be at and stay. But we can't. Fakhretdinov, I think he was 5-0-1, or he had he had a split decision, or he had a no contest or something. But I don't think he had lost in the UFC, and they cut him, let him go. And he also, from what I understand, they didn't cut him. He kind of left on his own. But then you have Basharat as well. I can't wrap my head around this. What are we doing? I'm all for the entertaining fights. But Dana White sat in front of Congress, and just said, hey, we have the best fighters fighting the best fighters. Let's have that. In my British accent, let's have it. I know it was really bad, guys. Calm down. Okay? But let's have it. Let's have the best fighters fight the best. I take the Joe Rogan approach on this. We should, I want stand-ups when there's really nothing going on. But look, if a guy can't get up, he's going to have to learn how to get up. This is supposed to be the best fighters. MMA is the most realistic thing to a real fight. So I want to see the best fighters fight the best fighters. If you can't get up, get up. That's not unreasonable. I mean, is it? I'm asking you guys. Is it unreasonable that fighters should have to make these adjustments? We can't shape the sport around stand-up fighters. I go back to the Royce thing. Royce struggled after UFC 3. Wrestlers learned how to defend submissions, took him down and just grounded him out, or they just sprawled and brawled and beat him up on the feet. And then those wrestlers started beating kickboxers, and kickboxers started learning how to defend the initial takedown, the first takedown, and possibly even the second. And when they did get taken down, they learned how to get back up to their feet. And then wrestlers struggled with the kickboxers. I trained with Frank Shamrock during his golden era. the John Lober, the Tito Ortiz. I was there in California training at American Kickboxing Academy during that time. And he was not the best striker. He had horrible fucking wrestling. And he had no power. And he'll tell you, his submission game was good. You could not hold him down. But he was a classic example of like, he learned what worked for him. He learned that cardio was the king at the time. He worked his game around what would make him successful in the sport. He knew that no one was training for endurance. He knew that, look, if I can drag this as long as I can in a 5-round fight or in a, and push the pace and make them work and make them, he worked on that. He understood cardio is my biggest weapon. And then we always made fun of him. Mexican sweat was his next biggest weapon because you couldn't hold him down. I don't think that guy had any hair on his body, man. He was so slippery. So what like training with him was the worst. Easy to take down, but then as soon as you hit the ground, he's already pushing on your head. His legs are sliding out. He made adjustments. Tito Ortiz became a better fighter because Frank Shamrock beat him up. Tito then trained with Frank. I think his next fighter, they went and trained together for, a month or so together. So he kind of learned the system. Frank's mindset, Frank Shamrock, by the way, guys, I see someone say Frank Mir. No, Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock, his mindset was to make Tito Ortiz the best fighter he could ever be. So people couldn't beat him. So it made Frank look better. Totally selfish reasons, but very understandable. And Tito went on to have a great legacy for a while. So the fighters have to learn to adjust. And I think when you have a Jailton Almeida who's boring, doesn't look like he's interested in being out there, but he's still in the rankings. Well, the UFC, we've seen him do it before. Get a beat. He's got 2 losses in a row. The heavyweight division is the worst it's ever been, I think, in the history of the sport. What are we letting him go for? Keep him. He's got to look to him. Sure, he can be boring. But give him fighters that can beat him then. And then cut him. He's got 2 losses. He wants to go to 205. Sorry, the 205 is the next boringness, the next worst weight class you have right now, which is crazy because it was an iconic weight class that built this sport. Tito Ortiz, first off, Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Vitor Belfort at the time. Like, you had guys, they ran this sport. John Jones, obviously. But these are the guys that they built this sport up. I would say, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. The 205-pound weight class built this sport. It's the reason why we have such a huge sport. Stephen Bonner, Forrest Griffin. I would say we have this sport because of that. Vanderlei and Rampage, someone to Meet Rocket 69 just said. Great addition. Shogun Hua, Lyoto Machida. The sport was built on the back of the 205 light heavyweight division. I'm not speaking out of turn. I think that's true. So when we have guys like Jailton Almeida, like he has a look to him. I don't know. I don't think you released him. Don't get me wrong. I was so pissed watching that fight. I was on X going like, can you imagine being this athletic? Can you imagine being like so talented and so gifted and to fucking fight like this? What a shit show. And I know the UFC is pissed off. Like, man, we're giving, like, you're in heavyweight. No, dude. Give him his shot back down to 205. I would have given him a shot at 205 because it's not as if like the 205-pound division's fucking spanking it. They're not the greatest division in the world right now. It literally is 205 and heavyweight, the 2 worst divisions in the sport. So maybe he goes down there, lights a little fire under his ass. I don't know. But getting rid of him wasn't the answer. You can't have a guy who's in the rankings and then you cut him. Shit. I don't like that. You know, I know he's 0-2 in his last 3 or last 2 or whatever, but like there's a look there, there's something there. I mean, I don't know. There's a little bit of marketability there. He's just got to pull the trigger. Maybe the heavyweights just were able to control him. Maybe he was a little timid with it. Who knows? Maybe at 205 he comes down, he has more confidence. You never know. And then I got Lazy Bet over here, still talking trash. Going to make a pretty penny in the PFL. Look, I don't know, man. I don't think they'll sign him. But if he does go, you say he's going to make a pretty penny. Let me tell you guys how this works. If you get cut from the UFC, we don't need to pay you more. You ain't got nowhere else to go. Where the fuck is he going to go? The PFL doesn't need to pay him. He can go fight for the LFA. Maybe he can go to Ryzen. Ryzen might pay him some money because they're trying to build up their heavyweight division over there. Ryan Bader was just supposed to fight in their heavyweight tournament. And then he got hurt. Maybe he goes over there. But this is how the promotion game works. They know once you get rid of promotions, right? Nah, Josh, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Supply and demand. You don't have some, you have something, sure, I want, but not at the expense that you're thinking you're going to get paid. I'm not going to pay you because the UFC don't want you. My competition is the UFC. I don't need to pay you. I know they're not taking you back. That's how this works. Like, oh, well, the guys don't, they don't get paid enough. Well, they don't get paid enough because there's no competition. LFA, I think, only pays like $1,500 and $2,500, I think, to fight. They ain't paying much. So his best option would be either Ryzen, who pays well, not great, and PFL, who pays well when you have a really good prospect. When you have somebody you know that the UFC wants, that they built up, Usman Nurmagomedov, Johnny Eblin, Aaron Pico, those guys are going to make money when they come over, if they come over. But if you get released from the UFC, unless you're like a Corey Anderson or unless you're like a Corey Anderson or a Gegard Mousasi who kind of left on their own. I mean, Corey, I think, was kind of like just released because he asked for his release and then he went to Bellator. They got paid because they were ranked in the top 5 and the top 3. I think Corey was number 3 at the time when he left, and Gegard was number 5 when he left, when his contract went out. So to say that he's going to get paid a pretty penny, Lazy Bet, is just not true. I mean, think about this. Don Davis just resigned, so that freed up a little bit of capital. Peter Murray, I think he left too. He's out. So that freed up a lot more capital. So yeah, they've got money to invest. But look, if the UFC's not gonna sign you, or you're not in a betting dispute between each other. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and put this much money on you, and you're gonna go and see if you can get it matched. Then there's no reason for me to overpay. What were you making over there? I'll pay you less. Let's just say he was making 100 and 100. Let's say he's making $200,000 a fight. If the PFL, which I believe they have gotten a lot smarter with their money because they're tightening down on all the bullshit over there, and honestly, their card last weekend was better than the UFC's card. And everyone's, oh, well, I don't know their names. It doesn't matter if you don't know their names. Watch the fights. I like the fight. But the PFL is not going to go paying Jailton Almeida a ton of money to answer the question or to hit the comment. There's no reason to. You want to fight here? We've got guys for you to fight. Let's see how you do. Get some wins. You could take, Jailton Almeida could take the Anthony Rumble Johnson approach. He didn't make weight against Vitor Belfort. They let him go after he lost that fight. Then he goes over to the World Series of Fighting, which is now the PFL. He goes over there. Fights at heavyweight, by the way. And then after he gets a couple wins, he told them, I do not want to fight for your title. I am not fighting for your title. Anthony Rumble Johnson did. I'm not fighting for your title. Because if it becomes available, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the UFC. And they knew that. They knew that. I was one of AJ's best friends. So yeah, that is if he wants to take that approach, go right ahead. Jump over to the PFL, take a little less money, get 2 or 3 wins, beat up one of their top guys, and be like, okay, look, I'm ready to come back. You see what I've done at heavyweight, or go over there and fight at 205 and do it over there. Impa Kasanganai was their 205-pound champ before. He's kind of well built, but he's not a big guy. Jailton Almeida is huge compared to him. Jailton Almeida could go over there and win, some fights at 205 and have a great record, and then eventually probably try to come back if he wanted to. Or he could stay there, and PFL be like, well, we built him back up. We'll now go ahead and pay you. After we get 3 or 4 fights with you where you have success, we'll go ahead and start paying you a little bit more. Who knows? He might be more comfortable over there. You never know. What do we got here? X213, the king, huh? I thought I was the king, man. Arman should fight Patty in the White House, then the winner of Ilya versus Justin. Agree? No, I don't agree. And I'm not discrediting. I don't mind the fight, to be honest. But no, I don't agree. What I do agree with is I think that Justin and Ilya should fight next because it's to join for the undisputed title, to merge the interim title and the undisputed title. But I think Arman should fight the winner. Arman shouldn't have to fight again. You want to know why I think Arman shouldn't have to fight again? Arman has done a fucking fantastic job building himself up and his brand up on this off season, on this being stuck on the sidelines. That he's, I think, made millions more fans by doing his presser. His press run out there, fuck, is fantastic. This dude he's killing it. The shit he did with fucking Nina drama and the shit he did with all the other people is fantastic, man. I thought it was great. And he's still doing it. He's still doing his thing. I love everything about him. I was a fan of Arman because of how damn good of a wrestler he was, and I came up wrestling. And to see what he did, if you guys go back and you watch his first fight into the UFC, his debut was against Islam Makhachev. And to see what he was able to do, I walked away from that fight going, that kid's way better than way better than I thought he was going to be. Debuter? This is what he did? Holy shit. Arman Tsarukyan's the real deal. And that was his first fight. His debut in the UFC was Islam. And then he just rattled off these wins. Came up short on the Gamrot fight, which I actually thought he won that fight. Not mad at it's not a robbery or anything. It was close. Good fight. I like watching two guys, high-level wrestlers, get after it. I love it. Absolutely love it. But how do you not like Arman Tsarukyan right now? I don't think he should have to fight anybody. Nobody. He should just be next in line. After this fight, he should be next in line. Why should he have to wait anymore? I understand if you, like, I go back to put your promoter hats on. I'm a promoter. When he was supposed to fight Islam the second time for the title, I'm a promoter going, hey, you call me in the middle of the night, you can't either make the weight or your back is thrown out. Whatever you want to, who cares? Ultimately, they made the decision not to fight. That pissed the UFC off. Then he has him fight Dan Hooker. Destroys Dan Hooker. But what you have to remember is at the face-off, he headbutts Dan Hooker. What happens if Dan Hooker gets cut? Now I lose one half of my main event. And if I lose that, and the fighter, and I got to lose, and if I have to lose Arman too because I can't get someone to fight him, Now you have to give back money to everyone that bought tickets, because it says in some law with ticket purchases. If for a concert, if I buy a ticket and the main attraction can't go anymore, I can get a refund. The same thing goes if one party of the main event stays, you don't have to refund. But if both parties depart and they're not on the card, they have to offer a refund. Not everyone takes it. They're like, I'm already here in Vegas, or I'm already here wherever I'm at. I flew here from across the world. I'm not going to not go. So to me, Arman Tsarukyan deserves the title shot. And I understand where the UFC was coming from. Like this, like punishment. You headbutted him, man. You could have cut him. Could have cost us money again. And then the Islam, fight, whatever it was. I mean, that's another one. So, all right, here we go. We got another one. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. I agree, but Dana is being weird. I know Dana is being weird. A lot of fighters make mistakes, but Arman is getting the worst end of the stick. I think Arman has come to his senses and been like, hey, I kind of did these things and I didn't need to. He's taken fault for it. And I think he can let him, if he's willing to do that, but I still don't think he needs to fight anybody in the process. I mean, like, who else would you have him fight? There's no one for him to fight. I don't want to see him get depleted either. I hear him talking about this, what I think is fucking nonsense. Is going to 145. You're going to fuck your body up. Not by like, oh, you're going to mess it up getting down there. No, you're going to fuck it up as in like, when you go down there for the one fight, now you're going to have to stay down there if you win it, because this would be for the title. And if you lose it, you come back to 55, it's going to take you a while to get all that muscle back because you depleted your body so much. So now you got to come back up and try to put the muscle and everything all back on, which will take a good 6 months. I'll give you guys something that happened to me. I fought Kid Yamamoto at 143 pounds in Hawaii on 2 weeks' notice. I was weighing about 173 when I took the fight. I had 2 weeks to make the weight. I made the weight at 143. It took me over a month to get my body to get back to 170. I was so shredded. I was so lean. It almost looked disgusting. It was gross. But that's thanks for the super chat, X213, the king. Yeah, that took me a while to get myself back. So for Arman to go down, I have no desire to see that. I want him right where he's at. He's the guy. He's the guy to beat Ilia Topuria. And I don't think he just beats him. I think he handles him. Yeah, rest in peace, Kid Yamamoto, my man. Grant R. Ellis, I agree. It was a sad day, man. Really sad day. He came to AK and trained also too, right? Probably like a couple months before he got to the UFC. And I have pictures with him, standing next to him. He was fucking tiny. Tiny. Now, when I fought him, he was a lot younger. It was like 10 years before that. Maybe even more than that. It was 10 years before that, I think. And he was a little bit more thicker, a little bit bigger. He'd just come off the Olympic ladder, wrestling in the, for the Olympic team, for the Japanese Olympic team. He was built. But still, Kid Yamamoto was a legend, man. How do you not? Like, this guy's absolutely fucking insane. Super fast, heavy hands for such a small guy. Yeah. But that was the fight that I got signed to the UFC by Dana White. He signed me in the hotel of the Ala Moana in Hawaii. Said, I'll have a contract to you. Said, you ready to come to the UFC? I said, yep. Yeah. Matty Ice 219. I agree with you. I love that Arman is doing the Roth wrestling. This is another one of those things of him building his brand. It's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic that he's doing this. He's keeping himself busy. He knows what it's going to take to beat Ilia Topuria. Let me ask you guys this. Does he beat Ilia Topuria? I think he handles him. I think he beats him everywhere. He doesn't need to beat him on the feet, guys. The fight's going to take place on the ground. And maybe I'm going to eat my words. But I honestly believe that you're gonna I honestly believe that they are gonna keep Arman away from him until after the Islam and Ilya fight happens. I think if Ilya Topuria beats Justin Gaethje, Ilya Topuria will go to 170 and fight Islam Makhachev. And I think when he does that, I think that Arman will fight for a vacant title, or he'll fight for an interim title against whoever else is there, whether it's Max, whether it's Charles, whether it's Gaethje. He'll fight for an interim title. And if Ilya wins, he'll stay at 70, which is not, I don't think, a good idea for him. But if Ilya loses, then he'll come down and try to do what Volkanovski did, is try to defend his title against the interim title match. That's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen, is that they're trying to get that Islam and Ilya Topuria fight to go through. If the UFC is looking at, what do I need to do to make money? What do I need to do to show the brass at Paramount and CBS that we are worth the 1.1 billion a year, 7.7 billion, 7 years? They want to know. Here we go. Oh, nice. Thank you for the super chat. $20 super chat. X2013, the King. I'm Armenian, so I am biased. We're all biased a little bit. We're biased for our friends, biased for people that come from our country. We're biased for all these. We get it. I understand. I'm not knocking you. I'm biased, but I think Arman has done everything to be considered for the title. You're absolutely correct. They did this to Khabib and Islam. They did this. Well, the Khabib and Islam thing, they didn't do to. What it was that fighters didn't want to fight him. They didn't want to fight Khabib. They didn't want to fight Islam. They couldn't get matchups. They asked for everyone ranked above them. Umar's going through it right now. No one wanted to fight him. They're like, no, you're going to ruin my chance to get into the title. It's hard not to think Dana is trying to shut down wrestlers from great opportunities. He is, I think, somewhat trying to shut down wrestlers. But that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. Stats are that it normally takes about 8 fights in the UFC on an 8-fight win streak to get a title shot. 6 to 8 fights. Within that period of time, you normally will get a title shot. I think because of their style, sure, it took them 8, 9. I think it was Islam was on his 9th fight, I think, when he got his title shot. Bilal Muhammad just never got the respect he deserved. What worked against Bilal Muhammad, though, was his age. They don't want to give title shots to fighters that are 37, 38, 39 years old. Look what Glover had to do. He had to jump through all these fucking hoops just to get there, and he didn't win the title till he was 40 years old. So, X213, the King, I appreciate the super chat, man, the $20. Thanks, man. Keep them coming. I appreciate you guys so much. But that being said, the UFC is leaning into this entertainment business. They're leaning into the fact that they want the fighters to be a little bit more entertaining. These wrestlers have got to be more entertaining. Umar's got to get some finishes. He's my boy. I've known Umar since he was 19. I got nothing but love for him. We got to work on the finish. But it is also hard to fight guys like Figgy where they just run away and they don't want to fight. It's hard to catch those guys. You're not going to, if you're a world-class fighter, you're not leaving yourself extended against someone like Figgy who's got a little bit of pop in his hands. He's still explosive for 38 years old and a former champion. He's crafty. If I'm Umar, I'm not chasing him around, leaving myself open to get knocked out. I'm not going to he's 38. I'm young. I still have a long career. I'm not going to ruin it in this opportunity. I'll go the distance if I have to, but I'm dominating and winning the fight. And that's exactly what Umar did. Islam's got like 7 or 8 finishes in his last like 10 fights. So I don't know what people are complaining about it being boring. I mean, I called the Charles Oliveira fight. I got shit on by everyone. Talking about how he was going to take it. He was going to basically take him down and he was going to submit him. And everyone's like, no, Charles is the best grappler in the game. Like all that bullshit. And we saw exactly what happened. And then I said the same thing about Khabib and Justin Gaethje. And no disrespect to Justin Gaethje and his wrestling, but I said Russian wrestling, Dagestani style wrestling, it's different. This is not a shoot a double leg and just like there's chain wrestling involved, the way they do it, the way they sag on the hips, all of those things. And sure enough, even Luke Thomas and even Brendan Schaub, and they were talking about on a show together. And then they're like, yeah, well, Josh was right. He was vindicated. Or the Russian Dagestani style wrestling was better than Justin Gaethje's American wrestling. The styles make matchups, guys. So I'm not of the, and we're talking about this in terms of, Dana's got it out for the wrestlers. I don't think he's got it out for the wrestlers. But what these wrestlers have to do, this goes across the board. I don't care if you're from Dagestan or if you're from Russia or you're from, from the US and you can wrestle. You have to learn how to either ground and pound more viciously, be more exciting with your ground and pound, like a Fedor Emelianenko style or a Khabib and Nurmagomedov style where you're just lacing the legs and just posturing up and doing damage. Did you not see Edson Barboza after the Khabib fight? Looked like the fucking Elephant Man. Talking to, him, talking to, Dana, like all these things. You've got to make it entertaining for the fans. If you're going to be a dominant wrestler, learn how to ground and pound. Or do what Islam did. A little bit of ground and pound, chase a submission. Well, everyone's going to knock the JDM fight. You can knock the JDM fight. But let me ask you this. Any of you guys that have grappled, how hard is it to submit somebody who just does this? They try to do one move, they can't get it, they come back to this. Their whole focus is on not getting finished or not getting submitted. It's almost impossible. I've got an 11-year-old boy. I've tried to hold him down and try to do something. He's squirming. He's all over the place. It's not the easiest thing. And then my daughter will come and jump on me and attack me from behind. It's it's not easy, man. It's not easy. So that's my take on that. Is that, look, these guys, the UFC is not being, in the beginning of this TV rights deal, I think they've avoided the wrestling. I understand that. But I think as time goes on, I think these wrestlers got to make the adjustments. X213 the King, thanks again. Another super chat. Thank you. Patty got a title shot served on a silver. Yes, he did. I'm not going to sit up here and say, no, he didn't. But Paddy Pimblett is also the guy who brings a huge fan base that supports him. And they needed to hit that market coming into the TV deal. They wanted to see what the numbers were by Patty. From what I understand, they delivered. Patty's marketable. You guys can hate the way he fights. I'm sorry, but I walked out of that fight going, damn, he's better than I gave him credit for. Oh, he didn't look good. No, he looked good. He hit Justin with some nasty shots. The knees up the body. Justin got hit and clipped a bunch of times throughout that fight. Patty's striking is very unorthodox. It's hard to deal with a guy that fights that way. I thought Patty looked. I walked out of there, out of my theater room that I'm in watching the fights. I walked out of there going, damn, he's better than I thought. Way tougher than I ever gave him credit for. He's a phenomenal. I was excited for him. I'm like, this guy, I don't know how well he do. I don't know if he'll ever be champion. I can't tell you that. But possibly. He possibly can. The division's kind of getting a little bit older. We just talked about this. Charles Oliveira is, I think, 37, 36. Max Holloway's 35. Gamrot, I think, is 35. Dan Hooker's 35. Moicano's 38. Faziev, I think, is 34, something like that. Dariush is 36, 37. Chandler's 40. Going to be 40 or something. That's six or seven fighters in the top 15 that are all old, that are all like a year or two away. So can Paddy Pimblett at 28 or 29 years old be the champion? Possibly. Grant R. Ellis. Speaking of styles making matchups, And I get he's older now, but do you think Arman could handle Volk everywhere the way you feel Arman would handle? Yes, I absolutely do. There's a couple videos. There's a couple, but there's a longer version of it on YouTube. You guys got to pay attention for. Thanks for the $40 super chat, by the way. Grant or Ellis, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. If you go and watch the video of Arman Tsarukyan wrestling Khamzat Chimaev, like full on blown, like he's getting thrown around a little bit here and there, but his ability to posture back up, his ability to get back to his feet, his ability to get after him. And if you watch to the end, it's Khamzat Chimaev who is trying to shake Arman's hand while Arman is like, hey, let's keep wrestling. Arman didn't want to quit. Arman's like, no. Arman actually leaned into him, trying to get it over under. And he just, and Khamzat was like, oh, shaking hands, like, we're done. Arman Tsarukyan was just getting started. So it's one of those. Yes, I think he's the best wrestler at 155, 145. I think, even he came out and said the only other guy that could really wrestle with me would be Islam Makhachev, and he's at 170 now. Grant R. Ellis, thank you again, man, for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's just, that's, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now, I think, with the Arman situation. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. He shouldn't fight anybody in the process. He should keep doing the Roth wrestling because they're paying him pretty well because he has got a name. He's done a great job of building his brand. He's becoming more popular every single day. I love it. Now they can't say Arman doesn't bring viewers after his last media run. I would agree. X213, the king, again, thank you for the super chat. You're killing it for me today, man. I appreciate it. Everyone loves the guy. I had probably 6 or 7 people reach out to me. 6, 7. I know if you guys got kids, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's fucking ridiculous. I know it's getting a little old, but my kids stopped saying it, but it just came to my mind when I just said 6, 7. So everyone loves the guy. And I had 6 or 7 people reach out to me going, man, I didn't like him before. I didn't really care about him. He's like, but he's hilarious. He's got that dry sense of humor that people love. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. So yes, good for him. Another one in the Granite 617. Thanks for the super chat, my guy. Keep grinding. I'm growing organics, setting up another spot right now. All right. Growing the organics. All right. I'm glad I'm keeping you company, buddy. Okay. Enjoy. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, bud. Thanks, man. So I just thought it was, oh, wait, here we go again. We got in the Granite. Thanks for gifting a membership. I appreciate it. Look, if you guys want to be a member, I actually do these things on my memberships for our Weighing In channel. I invite a member once a month. We're going to try and do two a month. I'm doing 2. Try and do a second one here coming up for next week where I interview you guys or you guys have an opportunity to debate me, whatever it is you want to call it. And then I put that out on our channel. So it'll be there forever. You'll be able to revert back to it and be like, hey, I was one time on the Weighing In podcast. So I'll let you guys, we're going to, jump on and do an interview. We'll talk about whatever topics you want to. I'll debate you or we'll just agree on things. Who knows? But in the Granite, thanks for gifting a membership. Appreciate it, bud. Yeah, man, it's just one of those, I don't know. Arman is one of those guys that I feel needs to just stay active, stay busy, and keep making himself, keep putting himself out there. I loved when he did the DC interview. And he told DC that his wife was black. My wife is dark. My wife is, dark. And then if you pull at DC, like, no, really? Oh man, you one of us. They went in this whole thing and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. You could see the sense of humor that he has. It's a dry sense of humor, very kind of like a Armenian / like Russian style sense of humor. It's very dry, but very funny. Oh, he says, my wife is caramel. I thought it was great. Oh, I thought it was great. And then DC's like, oh yeah, Caramel's the best. Like we're the best looking. I'm like, DC trying to lump himself into that conversation of being the best looking because of that. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was absolutely funny. And then I saw like an IG pic of it. Someone goes, or a video of it. People go, bro, your wife is not Caramel. They're calling him out, and DC didn't know. But yeah, look, Arman's got a sense of humor. He's fun. I love it. I love everything about it. And hopefully he continues to build it up. In the granite, my wife is Italian. Well, my wife is Chinese, man. So, hey, we've all got, my wife has got like a caramel, I guess you could say, kind of complexion as well. My wife's Chinese. So, in the granite, congratulations, man. You got an Italian. Let's see here. Right here. Lame ass entitled mods ruining my numbers. Laugh out. I don't know what that was referring to. Krishna OV8SK. Man, a little violent over there, huh? Here we go again. X213, the king. Josh, I respect your opinion and wish you would do the matchmaking for the UFC. Oh man, look, it's not an easy job. Guys, it's not easy. You know, everyone should know that. It's not an easy job. Very tough. You know, it's there's fighters. What we don't remember is, what people don't realize is that there's fighters that are on the roster that we just think like, match that fighter up with that fighter. But then that fighter's hurt. Or that fighter, you know, he's out for 4 months because he's injured. Well, you can't leave the other fighter you want to match him up against, you know, on the bench for that long. He wants to fight. So you can't do that. So then, you know, or fighter could be getting married. He's like, look, I got to spend the last 2 months, you know, getting ready for my marriage, you know, and for the wedding. And then on top of that, I can't show up to my wedding and my wedding photos with black eyes and cuts and all this other shit. And then after that, you know, they go on their honeymoon. They're gone for, you know, 2 weeks. There's another 2 weeks. And you get back to training. You're fat and out of shape from your honeymoon, you know, and then you got to get back to work. So it takes time. So being a matchmaker is not the easiest job. Guys are either hurt. Guys also sometimes will be like, yeah, I don't like that fight. I'm not fighting that fight. That's yeah. That's tough when you're that matchmaker. I've had plenty of these conversations with Joe Silva. Joe Silva used to complain about it. You know, I was supposed to fight RDA. Yeah. I was supposed to fight RDA right before they offered me the title shot against Anthony Pettis. So I was already contracted. RDA and I were supposed to fight. And then they called me and said, hey, TJ Grant has concussion stuff. So we're going to have you fight Anthony Pettis. I was like, I'm in. Let's go. Then the RDA fight, you know, was he ended up fighting somebody else. So all that being said, man. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to wrap this up. We did 1 hour and 7. I only planned on jumping on here for like 10 minutes just to talk about the Nate thing and just to talk about the other stuff. But hey, guys, you guys came through for me. Thanks for the super chats. You guys are fantastic. I'm glad I was able to do this. I'm glad I'm going to have fun. Like I said, hey, next week, I will be down in Mexico. I will be filming while I'm down there doing something like this and just talking about topics of the sport. But I'll be down there getting stem cell treatments at CPI Stem Cells. And if you guys have any information, you guys need information on it while I'm down there, hit me up while I'm down there. Hit me up on here. And I will try to gather the information that you guys are asking for and answers. And I have all the contact information for you guys as well. So if you guys want that, I can give that to you as well. Did you already see the video of Islam saying he is ready for the Ilya Topuria fight? I did see it. My bad if you already mentioned it. I did not mention it. He's always been ready for it. It's just the thing is, like, he's like, I'm not going back down to 55. And he after he fought JDM and after the weight cut was not that hard, he's like, man, I'm never going back to 55. He's like, he was more frustrated and mad at himself for not going to 70 sooner. He felt faster. He felt stronger. He felt a lot more energy later in the fight. He's a lot better fighter at 170. He'd been killing himself to get to 55. I'm so glad he's not going back. I'm so glad. So, but yeah, I did see that. Papa Gino 123. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. And then we've got right here, Dave Sandine, $2 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Says, hey, Josh, love these random shows. Appreciate you. I appreciate you too. Thank you, bud. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And make sure you guys, like I said, hit the bell for notifications, man. Hit the bell for notifications so we can, when I do these random shows, you guys can just jump on. Got it? And right here, look at this right here. Grant R. Ellis, thanks. 10 weighing in memberships. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is awesome. You guys become a member. You guys have an opportunity to jump on and either debate me or just have a conversation. But hey, 10 memberships gifted. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's big time right there. Big time. 10 new members. Let's go. In the Granite. Thank you for the $1 super chat. I appreciate it. It says super sticker. Good, guys. Good. Hey, guys, want to thank you guys. And guess what? We're out, man. See you guys next time.